What care I for ceilings high, or drapes or pictured walls? What care I for Duncan fifes when nature's playhouse calls? What care I for Chinese rugs, or a couch with silken spread, or mirrors with carved out wreaths when the sun shines overhead? The blue sky is my ceiling high, a hedge of wild rose my drape, an ivied stump my table, my walls the wide landscape. The soft green grass, my worsted rug. For a couch, the fragrant hay. The quiet brook, my mirror clear. Thank God for a carefree day.
I'm a physical therapist and I work in home rehabilitation. Many of my clients live in the village of Decatur, Michigan, hometown of Edgar Bergen, the great ventriloquist who created Charlie McCarthy and Mortimer Snerd. I had a Charlie McCarthy puppet when I was a kid, but I long forgot about Edgar Bergen. When I saw the sign in Decatur, I thought the street was named after a former mayor. While on lunch break, I rediscovered Bergen at the Hard Times Family Restaurant, which has home-cooked meals and an Edgar Bergen display. Bergen kept lifelong ties to Decatur. In 1948, he gave a homecoming show at the Village Athletic Field, now the site of Decatur High School. The show was one of several publicized visits, and Bergen drew 50,000 people, nearly half the size of Michigan Stadium. At the local newspaper, I bought a village scrapbook history. Initially, I wanted to learn more about the great ventriloquist. But as I read through the old-fashioned print, I found myself oddly traveling back in time, and I gained a clear vision of the village and its happenings. I felt introduced to people and familiar with daily goings-on. I even found some hilarious legends. A flying tear shook Decatur during World War II. It was 1943, and a giant airplane flew low over the main street of the village while most of the inhabitants were dining. The roar of the engine was so loud that people ducked to save themselves from possible decapitation. "Must be the enemy is on us," said one resident. A few minutes later, a telephone call explained it all. A military serviceman from Decatur, en route to his base in South Carolina, was purposely flying low over his family farm to say hello to his mother. One tale is that Bergen had a friend who inspired the ventriloquist dummy, Mortimer Snerd. That is, Mortimer Snerd was an actual living and breathing person who once gandered around the Decatur streets and sidewalks, and the dummy was made in his honor. Bergen's puppet, Effie Clinker, was inspired from a Decatur resident named Effie Clinker. Most of my clients are senior citizens in their 80s and 90s, and they recall such funny stories. But mainly, they recall years of fellowship and are thankful for the community in which they were raised. As described to me, Decatur was a place where neighbors occupied each other's households, much as relatives living across the field. The poor were fed and accepted. Nobody went hungry. Troubled times drew concerned friends to the door. Decatur was, and still is, such a place. Unfortunately, throughout all counties in which I work, many seniors express their anxiety regarding the daily news cliché, current economic problems. I often ask why Edgar Bergen can't be used to help the local economy. And people explain to me that, in fact, Edgar Bergen is dead. So, I resolved to help the economy by promoting the rediscovery of Edgar Bergen. I am an amateur filmmaker, but my goal was to convince a professional producer to make a movie about Edgar Bergen and Decatur. I pondered my communications with independent filmmakers and Hollywood.
Hello, sir. Do you have time to answer a couple quick questions about Edgar Bergen?
Can you wait till I'm done?
Yes, sir.
To make Bergen live large again in spirit, I needed familiarity with his Decatur story and the hometown culture that inspired and fueled his journey. Through this history, I needed to learn what made Edgar Bergen great. Once learning the aspects of Bergen's greatness, I'd harness them and connect them into a whole form, thus fully bringing Bergen to life, much as he brought Charlie McCarthy to life. Hopefully, this would inspire a big golden age comeback. fame, the movies, the stage productions. Ensemble spirits entering from the country roads and fields. And then, like a forefather, briefly reaching down to lend a hand, Edgar Bergen would return to Decatur one more time.
We're very happy to be here.
Good. I'm happy you came, Mike. No, thank you.
Thank you for having us.
This is a great experience.
Great honor.
Thank you very much.
Me and Alshire were in a play where Sid Caesar and Edgar Bergen, where they brought back characters a lot, like it was a radio hour.
You enjoyed it, right?
I sure did.
Sure, that's the main thing too. Did the people enjoy it too?
They did, yeah. It was a good show.
Good, beautiful. Well, it sounds like you're doing what you love, and that's more than just fortunate.